I mean, obviously, I would love to perform at the Opry. I would love to perform at award shows and all of that. But I feel like, if anything, success in my career would just be able to sing my songs for the people who love them all over the world. Hi, this is Tori Rose, and this is Becoming Famous with Jacy Valeras.
Tori Rose, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to do this.
Oh my goodness. I feel like you are getting ready to embark on what could be such an exciting and incredible career. And it's always so fun to talk to someone who is in that stage of their career because possibilities are just endless, right? You grew up in Pennsylvania. Take me back a little bit to those early days of listening to music and what inspired you to want to pursue a career in country music.
Yeah, so I grew up on the Monongahela River, which most people can't pronounce, so that's why I always say it. And I grew up basically in the middle of nowhere, and my dad has always been the bigger country music fan, and my mom, I mean, they both love like all genres of music. So I grew up with every genre possible. I love all types of music, but when we would go boating, it was always country music all the time. And I feel like just I don't know, like all those memories and growing up on the river and all the fun I had growing up, country music has always just caught that feeling. Like when I listen to country music, I think about my childhood. And yeah, I think I was always singing. My mom said I was always singing all the time, and she was kind of shocked that I was on pitch like majority of the time at like 3 or 4 years old. And then I started playing piano when I was 6. And I think my parents knew what they were in for at that point because I never stopped playing it. I would wake up at like 7 o'clock in the morning and start practicing my music and wake everybody up. And yeah, I think I fell in love. I always loved singing. I fell in love with music more when I started playing the piano. And then I started taking ukulele when I was 10, guitar when I was 12, and then I started taking actual vocal lessons at 13. And music was like the only thing I enjoyed doing all of the time. Like I could not stop doing anything with music. So I was in all the choirs, I was in musicals in school. I was taking any performance I could, even when I was really young. I did the national anthem at the arena in Pittsburgh. And yeah, I don't really know what else much to say about it. I fell in love with it the more I kept doing it.
It's funny because you mentioned how country music feels like your childhood. And I feel like when we hear certain songs from our childhood, it brings that nostalgic feeling back.
Yeah.
What were the couple of songs that every time you hear them, even to this day, you're like instantly transported back to being a little kid?
Oh yeah, there's a lot. I will say Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue by Toby Keith is definitely one of my top ones. That was when we always listened to on 4th of July. We would go on the boat, go watch fireworks, and I constantly think about that song. Some other ones, I would say Little White Church by Little Big Town. Um, Basically any Carrie Underwood song. I'm trying to think what else. My dad was a huge Zach Brown band, so like Zach Brown band fan. So Toes, Chicken Fried, I think everything from that album we loved. And I would say Hank Williams Jr. Family Tradition is also a top one.
That's amazing. So you eventually relocated. You decided to risk it all and come down to Nashville. Do you remember the moment that you made that decision? Like, I'm actually going to go for this?
Yeah, it was kind of crazy because I moved to Florida in between being in Pennsylvania and Nashville. So I've been in Florida for like the past, I think 6 or 7 years. I came down here for high school and I graduated high school early and I was doing music full time here. But it was to the point where it's like I needed to make the big move. And luckily we knew some people in Nashville that were helping me out and helping to find a good team up there. And it's just crazy. I remember going up there. I was terrified. I think I've only been up there for a year and I was actually terrified. I still am kind of scared now. Like everything is still like I'm just now getting comfortable in Nashville. And I don't know, it was crazy, but I'm so happy I did it.
What do you think surprised you the most about coming to Nashville? Maybe something you didn't know was going to be true about maybe the Nashville music industry. Was there anything that kind of caught you off guard after you made the move?
This is gonna sound so weird, but everyone is good in Nashville. Like, like you go places and you're like, oh, like they're good, but like they're not like anything like crazy. But then you go to Nashville and literally everyone can sing, and it's crazy to me. Like I've never been surrounded by so many great singers and musicians ever.
Do you think that that inspires you and lifts you to want to become even better?
Oh, 1000%. And I think that's another good thing about Nashville. It's almost kind of like a healthy competition. Like you're not really competing with all of these people because everyone has something different about them. But it's like I watch so many people at Writers Rounds, and I'm like, they're so good. Like I love how they wrote that song. I love how their voice sounds. And it 1000% like inspires me when I go and write.
Yeah. Well, you've had the chance to open and work with some pretty impressive names in music. I know you've opened for Trace Adkins and Aaron Tippin. What have you learned from artists at that level? Have you taken anything away from being around that kind of performer?
Yeah, I would definitely say the biggest thing is to have fun. And I like it sounds so simple, and I always try to tell myself that no matter what. But like like for me is I would think of these big artists, especially artists that I grew up with. And I'm like, "Oh, they're probably a little like I think everyone's nervous before they go on stage, but you put these other artists on like a bigger scale and are like, "Oh, they are doing this, this, this and this." And like I watched Trace Adkins perform, and I watch him walk out, and he's just like calm, and he's just having a good time, and it's like nothing else really matters except having a good time on stage.
Yeah.
And I've definitely tried to take that with me.
I want to talk about social media because being an artist in today's day and age means you have to be on social media.
Yep.
So, how are you with embracing that? And how much of your music tying into social media plays into your daily life? Is it something that you're thinking about from the minute you wake up, or is it just kind of on the sidelines for you?
I would say I feel like it's somewhere in between. I am not the hugest social media person. I really do it just for my music and for the people who love my music. And yeah, so I try to stay off my phone in the morning and try to just like, take a deep breath and not instantly go on social media. But I'm also constantly on there trying to figure out what's trending and what are other singers and musicians doing, or oh, this is a funny idea, maybe I should post this and then they can see more of like my personal life, but also trying to like keep the balance of keeping part of my personal life private and showing them who I am at the same time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know it's such a balance to try to keep that relevant and keep things moving forward with building your fan base and then also trying to remain creative at the same time. And I feel like if you're glued to your phone or your computer, it might be hard to sit back and start writing a song. Speaking
Yeah.
of that, I want to talk about your creative process a little bit because you have some really interesting hooks and lyrics in your songs. So, what inspires you to write? How do you start creating a song?
The funny thing is, I honestly don't know. It really depends on like the song I'm writing. Like a lot of the times I will think of a hook, or I'll think of like a topic and I'll write it down in my notes, and sometimes I'll start writing it instantly. And for me, everything kind of comes together at the same time. So I'll usually write it on the guitar or the piano, and I'll work out the chords while I'm working out the melody and also working out the lyrics. Like everything kind of comes together at the same time. And yeah, and like sometimes like I'll write like for If Drinking Was a Sport, I had the hook down in my notes for months. And I'm like, this would just be such a funny song if I could figure out lyrics. And then it was just one day, everything just started flowing, and I wrote the song, I think, in like an hour.
That's amazing. As you mentioned, If Drinking Was a Sport, your latest single, the music video for this is amazing. Talk a
Thank
little bit about creating that and maybe some behind the scenes things that people might not expect to happen on the set of a music video. Was there anything that happened or any like kind of crazy background story?
Yeah, that music video was so much fun, and it's so funny because I think it was actually the simplest video I've done so far. Like really not much went into it. Where like the song is simple, the video needs to be simple, but we also need to make it funny. And so we had a bunch of amazing extras that helped play all of the like bar games and playing Pong and Flip Cup, and then Axel, who played my boyfriend in the video. He was absolutely great at playing the drunk boyfriend. It was so funny. I would sit off camera and just laugh so hard at him doing this. And I will say some like little secrets. It was actually freezing in the bar when we shot this. And it was one of like the coldest days in Nashville. And we were all like, once I went off camera, I like had my big jacket on. I was like huddled in the corner. But I'm trying to think what other things people wouldn't know when we were playing the bar games and it would be like Axel against someone else and obviously he's supposed to be winning and I feel so bad because I'm blanking on her name but one of the extras she was going against him in Flip Cup and she kept winning and so we had to keep retaking the shot so it kept looking like Axel was winning but she kept beating him in the game.
The magic of television.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like all of the things that you are working on could easily skyrocket you to the success that I know you are hoping to have. So, what does that look like? What does becoming famous, becoming successful in the music industry look like to you?
For me, it would really just be able to go all around the world and perform my music for people. Like, I don't think anything has ever made me happier than seeing people relate to my music and feel something, whether it's happy or sad or angry. Like, any emotion, if I can see them relating to it, it makes me feel so happy. And I feel like I actually did something because that's what music is for me. It's I want to feel something when I'm listening to a song. And so I mean, obviously, I would love to perform at the Opry. I would love to perform at award shows and all of that. But I feel like, if anything, success in my career would just be able to sing my songs for the people who love them all over the world.
Do you have a celebrity that you most hope to meet someday or most hope to collaborate with?
Oh, there's so many. Um, Dolly Parton and Carrie Underwood are obviously like my top two. Um, Gretchen Wilson is also one of my big inspirations. I would love to do something with her. Um, God, they're so Post Malone is actually one of my newer ones that I would love to do a song with.
Amazing. Yeah, for sure. Especially where you have been inspired by not only country music, to
Yeah,
get the chance to collaborate with someone who is a little bit blurring the lines of that
yeah,
right now, that would
yeah.
be such a good one for you. Well, I know that you are getting ready to do some more performances to support all of the music that you are releasing. So what can we expect from a Tori Rose live show?
Oh, for a Tori Rose live show, there's just gonna be a lot of, I would say, sassy music. All of Majority of my music has some sort of attitude or some funny liners in it. And so I would just expect kind of just like a fun, like sarcastic filled like show. That's really what it would be.
That sounds great. As you navigate the industry and as you get ready to take on all of these things, do you think about any advice that anyone has given you that you kind of hold near and dear to you?
I feel like there's definitely a lot of advice that I've gotten. One, I feel like that has gotten me through a lot is just to not really listen to what other people think about you. Like, obviously, take the compliments and take things that make you feel good and take the criticism so you can make yourself better, but also know who you are and don't let the criticism change you and just do you. That's really my thing is like I've someone told me wants to kind of, just keep your head down, do you, don't let other people change you, don't let the comments and everything get into your head and make you question yourself and just do what you do best.
Well, I think after talking to you for just a few minutes, your authenticity shines through instantly.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It's clear that you are who you are and you make music to support that. And I think that that's going to garner a whole giant fan base that you can't even imagine yet at this point. So I
I
am.
Thank
Really
you.
excited for you. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk with me
Yeah,
about
of course.
everything you have going on. Is there anything else that you have coming up that you want to mention? Anything that we can be excited about?
A lot more music. I'm going to be in the studio very soon and a lot more exciting music is coming out.
Incredible. We cannot wait to hear it. Thank you, Tori, so much for taking
Thank
time
you.
today. Can't wait to see your
Yeah.
star continue to rise. Thank you so much. Best of luck in everything.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.